looking at a whole bunch of bad guys. My favorite of which is Chucky, right here, because there's nothing scarier than a creepy little doll that's come to life and that's got bad teeth and light blue eyes that's wielding a knife and being like, "Why didn't you play with me more?" or whatever he says. I've never seen the movie Chucky. I knew somebody who was a therapist at one point, and they would sometimes get clients. They're like, "My kid's so afraid of dolls." Do you watch the movie Chucky when your kid's in the room? Yeah, I love that movie. Well, there might be a correlation. I thought that was kind of interesting. Why are we looking at bad guys? Why are we looking at bad guys? Because those bad guys are out there and they would like to do harm to you and your computer. And the way they could do harm to your computer is if you do not update. We're going to talk about another essential computer skill. And the essential computer skill, which we're going to talk about, is updating your operating system in particular, but also updating all of your software on your computer, particularly your operating system, and particularly your antivirus software. So, how do we update your operating system? You go to Start, you type in Update, and here's Windows Update. So, no matter what operating system you're running, you should have updates automatically set to automatically install, automatically update. So, if you click on Windows Update, it'll take you to an area where it'll tell you that information about updates. So most recent check for updates, updates were installed, you receive updates for Windows only, 46 optional updates available, no updates are currently selected, right? There are no critical updates, which I need. It'll tell me if I have critical updates, which I need. But I could change my settings for my updates right here. I could also check for updates right there and change my setting, install updates automatically, recommended. That's what I have it set to. Give me recommended updates, same way, blah, blah, other choices. Anyhow, you want to make sure that your operating system is set to automatically receive updates. Why is that important? Because when they create software, it's a really big project, and there's a whole bunch of code, and they try to get it right, but they're human, so they don't. And they create it and they release it, and it has things which aren't right. And then a week or two or three or 2 months later or 3 months later, they say, hey, we need to fix this thing which is not working so well, or which is a little hole through which other people can enter your computer digitally. We're talking about digital intrusion here. So they'll release an update to fix that thing which isn't right, which is broken, which is a little hole through which other people can digitally enter your computer if they so wanted to exploit that resource. And so updates are like patches which fix things which which have been discovered to have not been perfect since the time that they released whatever software you're using. So that's why updates are really important. And interestingly, there's this article, I think in the New York Times Magazine, selling software flaws. Nations buying as hackers sell flaws in computer code. I love memory. I love it when my memory works well. Here's this awesome article. Nations buying as hackers sell flaws in computer code. And so one thing hackers will do, one way you can make money if you're good with computers, is you could find these flaws in an operating system or in other programs, and you could find ways to infiltrate, to digitally intrude into other people's computers. And when you find those flaws, traditionally in the past, hackers would just give those flaws or sell them to Microsoft or Google, and they'd sell them for $500, $2,000, right? No big deal. But now, when hackers find those flaws, there's an entire marketplace. I think there's even a website, and people are bidding to buy the flaws. So the companies that made the software, right, have to bid against, either it's on a website or the bidding just occurs through some other type of brokerage. They have to bid against people who want to buy the flaw to exploit it, right? And so some of these hackers are now getting paid 150 grand, 500 grand for finding flaws in software and then selling it to either countries that want to use the flaws to break into the computers of in other countries, their enemies' countries. Like, think about us trying to get into Iran's computers, or Iran trying to get into ours, or any of those, places where people are in conflict. The average flaw now sells from around $35,000 to $160,000. That's what I'm talking about. Show me the money. So 0-day initiative, right? These are like 0-day hacks, like finding a hole in some software, finding a flaw in a software before it's patched, before it's fixed. And it's called a 0-day hack. You could Google that. Let's just make sure I'm using 0-day hack. 0-day definition. 0-day exploit describes an exploit that is not publicly known. It describes tools by elite hackers who have discovered a new bug or flaw or hole and shared it only with close friends. It also describes new exploit for compromising popular services. Pretty cool. So recently somebody found a flaw with Facebook, and and they said, "Hey Facebook, do you want to buy this flaw?" And Facebook just ignored them because Facebook gets those offers every day, all the time. Facebook flaw exposes its CEO, right? And so the person who found this flaw went in and turned it on and exposed all of Mark Zuckerberg's information. To which Mark Zuckerberg replied, man, you shouldn't do that stuff, or something similar. Man, you should be cool. I need to make fun of him, I guess, because I'm just implicitly jealous. He's worth like $18 billion. A security vulnerability in Facebook's site exposed by some users sent the company scrambling for a fix after Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg's private photos were published online. There you go. All right, so that's keeping your operating system up to date and looking out for crazy dolls who might want to digitally infiltrate your computer. That's a metaphor. That's just hyperbole right there. You keep your operating system up to date. Windows Update, you keep your operating system up to date. Or whatever operating system you're using. So you could use like Ubuntu Update, right? You could do that if you're running Ubuntu. Or Mac Update, right? You could do that if you're running Mac. You keep your operating system up to date to close any of those holes, those flaws in the software through which undesirable individuals might enter digitally. Okay, they're not actually going to physically enter your house. If they do and you survive, let me know, because that's a story I want to hear about.